to. It's really a highly evolved physical training system. And the pictures will be on. I'll send you guys, if you want one, I'll send you one. You just have to send me, I'll send you the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, but I learned in that, I grew up in that training hall. I grew up training in the turnaround.
It's a fantastic experience to learn such a skill when you're so young.
We had kettlebells, dumbbells, med balls. We had off the ground training, endless trampoline, stuff that we don't even know that it ever existed. It was all over the gym.
So how come they kind of, I'm sorry, but how come they discontinue it since the 1970s or 80s?
Well, what happened was in the 1920s, we began to dismantle all these systems. On the East Coast, in 1895, we had yogis running around. We had an open door policy with Japan. We had all kinds of martial arts training. This was at jiu-jitsu. You can find jiu-jitsu books from the 1800s. But it was all just the foolishness of cultures. On the East Coast, we had the European systems coming in from France and Germany and the French, Czechoslovakia. They all had really great systems. But about 1920, we began to dismantle those systems, and we began to focus primarily on sports. So the sport became the dominant feature of the physical culture. By 1920, the medical profession began to absorb the corrective gymnastics, called medical gymnastics. The ROTC took the military gymnastics. PE was left with sports. And then World War II came, and we had to reorganize and wake up, and we came back to life a little bit. Those turn-of-the-century kids that learned that stuff helped us. And then we had a little spurt up until the early 60s. John F. Kennedy tried to help, right? And if you think about it in terms of what it takes for a baby nation to grow, we're all a bunch of throwaways from somewhere, right? You go back 2 generations, you don't know who the hell you are, right? It's hard to know, right? So it's hard for us to have those thousands of years of wisdom. And since a lot of Europeans even changed their names.
Yeah, that's what happened in my family.
Yeah, so we have to rebuild all this again. The late 80s, when the Berlin Wall went down, we began to start getting some really good ideas out of East Europe. Kettlebells, for instance, out of Russia. So we've had a great influx of martial arts out of Korea, Thailand. God knows all the different wonderful martial arts we have now. So we don't have thousands of years of knowledge under our feet. We have to get really good, and the history helps by studying the old manuscripts and finding who's still alive that did any of it.
That's what I love about the hands-on Indian clubs, when we move over into that, is that some of the things you said really resonated with me as far as I have vestibular advantages because I had gymnastics my entire life. I mean, I can't remember my first lesson. And so being inverted to me feels okay. It feels very normal. And how much that's helped me be spatially aware in all the different things that I try to do. It's helped me immensely. And I didn't quite know how to put that into words until you mentioned that, like that vestibular.
Well, then we no longer teach gymnastics in our schools efficiently. So what's a sofa for a little child? It's a piece of gymnastics equipment.
Yes, exactly.
Our bodies are just struggling to move in space, and it's all taken from us. And then the ill-fitting furniture, it takes the final blow.
Yeah, I know. I don't sit in any of these halls because those chairs are fit for my body.
And a 90-degree hip angle under any condition is devastating to the human spine. So a human spine can only flex to 60. It'll give you about a horse riding position. That's all the spine can do. So if you go beyond 60 to 90, the lumbar curve disappears. You no longer have a lumbar curve. And we didn't suffer as much when I was a young man because we had slanted desks. But when we went to the flat desk, we were forced into another 40 degrees with rotation. Because, yeah, and you can't see what you're writing on a flat surface, so you have to rotate it so you have rotation. So by second grade, you have all these muscular deformities. And yeah, well,